The parents of admitted Oxford High School shooter Ethan Crumbley are now both convicted of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, despite never pulling the trigger themselves. Their criminal trials were considered to be the first of its kind. News Channel 3's Allie Jenner-John is live in studio to explain what precedent this will set going forward. Allie.
Yeah, Andy, with this case being so major and high profile, Assistant Kalamazoo County Prosecutor Jeff Williams says he won't be shocked if James and Jennifer Crumbley's attorneys file for an appeal. Williams says an appeals court will then decide, was the law applied correctly to the facts of this case? Was the jury instructed properly? And if the judge and attorneys did their job properly? If so, these cases would become a legal precedent for prosecutors to cite in future cases, putting a whole new level of accountability on parents.
We find the defendant guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
Guilty of involuntary manslaughter.
Jennifer and James Crumbley convicted of 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter nearly 2.5 years after their son opened fire inside Oxford High School, killing 4 students.
This was a big decision by the Oakland County prosecutor. They decided to take a broad statute of involuntary manslaughter and apply it to a set of circumstances which it previously had not been applied to.
Oakland County prosecutors arguing the Crumbleys ignored their son's mental health troubles and gave him access to a gun.
Sadly, I think part of the reason why this charge was used now and was successful now and maybe would not have been in the past is because part of gross negligence is that a person is doing something that, well, maybe not in itself intended to hurt someone else. They knew or should have known that there was a consequence and that death was a consequence of this.
Williams says it may bring about a new way to look at similar cases moving forward. Executive Lieutenant Michael Troy with the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety says it won't change their investigations.
Finding out where the gun came from or, those kinds of things we'd be looking at regardless.
Though it could change who they recommend charges for.
We haven't ever sought charges regarding parents up to this point because that's not how the law had been applied and things. So I've done searches for, how we can look at holding parents accountable for some things. And, I had been unsuccessful in finding things.
The ultimate decision for charges coming down to prosecutors and whether or not to convict in the hands of a jury.
When the jury had to answer the question of, is it foreseeable that a death would come of this? I think unfortunately the world that we live in where there are so many mass shooting events probably informed that decision and in turn raises the level of responsibility that's required for gun owners.
Like new gun storage laws that were put into place just last month in our state, you can now be charged for leaving a firearm unattended or not storing one properly. Live in studio, Allie Jenner-John, News Channel 3.